Pan out. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Elks Call, your home for Edmonton Elks Fan Talk. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X, and we couldn't be more thankful to have you here today. It is a lovely day. It is the CFL Draft. It's always a fun one every year. We love to do this watch party. We got it on the TV right here. Like, this TV is, you can see the glow. We got all of the TVs running in here, so it's going to be a really exciting day. Where do the Edmonton Elks pick? Where do some of these other CFL teams pick? So lots of hype, and it also kind of does signal the beginning of CFL season. So Canadian football is right around the corner. Very exciting. Once again, big thanks to you for joining us. We will be having Clay Chisholm of the Argos Fancast joining us momentarily. I think we also got some other big news today. I mean, we are going to be talking about the CFL draft, of course, but there also happened to be a bunch of rule changes that just dropped today as well. So that's going to be a little bit exciting. We'll see. We're going to have some conversations about that, kind of talk about some of the opinions out there, because there are a lot of them, and it's safe to say that some of the comment sections are getting ratioed on that one. It's not exactly the greatest look right now, especially on a draft day. I mean, this is supposed to be a really big day for these young men that are on the draft board here. The coming out with these big wholesale changes once again for the 2027 playoffs. It's a little bit interesting for timing, but once again, like we said, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. For today, our draft coverage is brought to you by Royal Retros. They are the Throwback Kings and an official sponsor of the Elks Call. So make sure you go check them out for all your Canadian football throwback jerseys, hats, and more. They got all of that good stuff. That's royalretros.com. All right. So let's take a look at the draft board here. Perfect timing for Clay Chisholm to join us here on this show today. What timing, Clay? What timing? We had just gotten underway. How are you doing, my friend? Oh, Clay might have some audio issues. Can you hear us, Clay? I know we got your volume turned up. Here, we're going to let Clay work away on this. But, third overall pick for the Edmonton Elks. Pretty excited about it. I think that they could pick up potentially a player that could be a difference maker in the next couple of years, right? Like Ed Hervey said in many of his press availabilities, he did state that, he can select the best available player. And I mean, we know that Akeem Mesidor is up there. Is Mesidor going to be selected? I think that is one of the big questions as well. Does he go maybe first overall? Or does he slip down to somebody maybe take him in one of the final rounds just because Akeem Mesidor is that good? He's clearly, what was it? I believe 25th overall, somewhere around there in the NFL draft. Do we really think that this guy is going to be playing in the CFL within the next 5 years, right? You kind of have to wonder about that. And I liked what Cody Wiles said on X. I like what he posted. He has his draft rankings broken down in tiers. So, tier 1, Akeem Mesidor is in a league of his own, in a tier of his own, quite literally. He's just that good. Really, as of right now, I don't think anybody believes that this guy's going to be playing in the CFL in the next 5 years. But then, you kind of go down the rest of the list. Albert Reese was another big one on that list, an Edmonton boy. And there's big potential that, he makes it here within the next 5 years. But, Cody Wiles has it divided up into these different tiers. And in tier 2, you don't know if these players will be coming back to the CFL, but it's more likely than, say, a tier 1 Akeem Mesidor. All right, let's see if we can reintroduce Clay Chisholm of the Argos Fancast onto the show. Clay?
Hey, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my friend.
All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Clay Chisholm, the Argos Fancast. Clay, how are you feeling about the draft today? How did we lose you again? Not yet. No. I have somehow you were there. Maybe check you might have to check in the over by the mute button in the bottom if you can reselect your mic. That sometimes is a thing. Oh, we got audio.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go old school here.
Okay, I like it. Let's do it. It's great to hear you no matter what. That's a big thing. Yeah. But yeah, how are you feeling about the draft today? And do you have any right off the top, I guess? Yeah, let's just start with how you're feeling.
You know what? I haven't followed a ton of the pre-draft stuff. I've been doing my homework over the last 24 hours, cramming a lot, and I think there's some guys that I like, especially for the Argos. But it seems a lot of the guys that are in the top 10 on the scouting bureau are all signing mini camp contracts or futures contracts out in the NFL. So I think there's going to be a lot of with the really big guys that you want, a lot of waiting for some of these guys. I know a lot of teams want the impact now,
right?
And I think you're going to have to take some lesser guys with a little bit more of a project or hope that they don't catch on in the NFL. But I think that a lot of that kind of stems from this kind of being the end result of the COVID years, where there was a lot of cancellation of the U Sports, but the NCAA kept playing. So you had a lot of guys that were going down south, a lot of Canadians, and a lot of Canadians who might have come up here who technically are Canadians, but you're getting a lot more American eyes on them, which means they're going to probably, obviously, have a better shot because they've scouted them or scouted teammates and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot. I think there's some really good gems that we're going to get in the mid rounds. But yeah, apart from that, like pretty much the top 10 on the scouting bureau is likely not going to be up here right away.
No, well, and it's a great point to make, right? I mean, I was just talking about how Cody Wiles has everything kind of divided into tiers with this draft, right? And like you said earlier, of course, we might actually have to wait for maybe even the top 4 or 5 picks, 6 picks. Malik Mega, he was selected in the draft or signed out of the draft, anyways. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty deep one, and value picks in the middle. This has been talked about already. There are some value picks in the middle of this draft. I mean, Carter Kettle, even U of A Golden Bear, we're going to talk about him because he's one of our 3 players that we did watch at the Combine and one of our 3 picks that we're kind of heavily keeping an eye on, right? But even Carter Kettle, who was kind of highly touted going into this, he's, projected to go around 3rd or 4th round now. So it is a very deep year, I think, in this draft. And I think that some of these guys, or, I'll say some of these guys will be instant impact. Some of these guys are going to be playing in the NFL. And then some of these guys, are going to be in that fringe position where they have to work extremely hard to get their chance past training camp. Yeah, I'm just looking because I do have my resources on hand, and I am interested to see that out of the three guys that we did keep an eye out on at the combine, one of the three that we were kind of scouting, um, they are projected to get drafted. Hard to say if it's exactly going to come to fruition for all three of these gentlemen today, but Charles Aslan, Ottawa GG's running back, we believe that he could get drafted today. Franklin Ibello kind of struggled a little bit through the combine, so we'll see where he lands. And Carter Kettle should get drafted. I think he's going to be the most a better bet to get drafted out of those three. You've been to the combine before, right, Clay?
Yep, a couple times actually. When they were doing them out of Toronto.
Right.
Yeah, it was always very interesting, especially when you're talking to some of these guys, because everybody's looking for something different.
Right.
My experience was a little bit different because I was going around shooting videos with my son, interviewing various players, stuff like that. But even then, I remember us going and asking, what do you look for in a good football player? We asked that to both the attendees and the coaches and general managers, and you got like everything. Corey Chamberlain wanted somebody who was extremely fast. He's like, I can teach them other things, but I can't teach speed. I want somebody who's really fast. Where he said Marcel Desjardins wanted somebody with a really good head on his shoulders. So it's everybody's looking for something different, and I think that always plays out in the CFL draft.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, the combine was really, it was a very fun experience.
Combines are great. We're going to get back to that in just a moment because we did get our first pick here from Ottawa. Sorry, going to Ottawa. Played for Purdue. This is Giordano Vaccaro.
Yep. Offensive lineman out of Purdue.
Out of Purdue, at home in Winnipeg, celebrating with his family. So there you go. There's our first pick off the board. O-line, first selection was an offensive lineman. What do you think? Is this, is he going to be playing for Ottawa right away? I would assume at a first overall pick.
I think so. Ottawa's was looking for, they want somebody now. They need to shore up their offensive line because it was porous at best, and it had a lot of turnover there. So this is a guy that they're probably hoping is going to be their starting. I believe he plays right guard, and I think they're hoping that he's going to be able to come in right away and start at right guard. Especially that's going to give him a little bit of flexibility too. Because he's still going to be on his rookie deal. So right. I think it's a great pickup by Ottawa. And I mean, if you look at Marshall Ferguson's latest mock draft, he had him going at number one. And then a couple of people I looked at, they're saying, okay, well, if anybody trades up for that number one spot, it's going to be Winnipeg because they want this guy.
Yeah.
Which tells you something, right?
Well, and this is what I wonder too, because he's not necessarily a regional pick. I don't think that he falls under regional pick. He has to play for, the regional U Sports, I believe, in that case, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but he is a hometown boy. And just like the Edmonton Elks are trying to do right now, try to build that culture up from the depths of Commonwealth and out to the city. Same deal, right? Winnipeg has taken that model, or at least has executed that model extremely well, to the point where they're seeing sellout after sellout after sellout. We can't deny that. But kind of getting back to it, fans want to resonate with some of these hometown guys, some of these guys that are from the area. Even Seth Jarvis wearing Winnipeg Blue Bombers gear probably sold them just that much more merchandise, like celebrating your local heroes. That's what the CFL really, really needs to get back to. And quite frankly, like quite a few teams do that. Quite a few teams are great with that. And, that would have been a great pick for Winnipeg, let's say. But he's going to Ottawa. Giordano Vaccaro played with Purdue. That's a big one for them. It'll be interesting to see how closely Marshall Ferguson's. I know that you're going off of Ben Grant's mock draft. We did not participate in a mock draft this year. It looks like our organization in doing that, the people that were organizing it, unfortunately, just couldn't come up with a plan to get it done. And hey, you know what? That happens. I will also admit, I don't know how much U Sports you watch. I know I watch a bit of Golden Bears, but I don't have the greatest U Sports football knowledge.
You know what? I used to watch U Sports a lot more than I do now, just mainly because I can't get it. It's not on TV out here in Ontario, and I used to watch some of the playoff games, stuff like that, on OUA TV, but that's now become a pay service. So we used to get the OUA game of the week every week on one of the local channels out here. And that was, for me, even as a teenager, that was appointment viewing. So, and then for part of my teenage years growing up, I was in London, Ontario, home the Western Mustangs. So I had season tickets to the Mustangs. So I was at, games every Saturday. We would go to the Yates Cup, whatever playoff game was being played within an hour or two, we were there. It just hasn't happened in the last 10 years or so because the rights got juggled around and were being used for leverage by some companies, and now they're pretty much worthless, so nobody wants them.
Well, that's a sad story.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
also paywalls. It drives me crazy. I know that TELUS will play like a Canada West game of the week or whatever. Hey, I'm thankful for whatever Canada West U Sports action that we do get for free on TV here in Western Canada. But I will also say paywalls are a little bit frustrating. Yeah. It would be nice to be able to view this product and get, the customers kind of turned on to it again. Kind of like Victory Plus. I will say Victory Plus, while we're talking about it, fantastic for watching WHL hockey, go Oil Kings. So, sometimes it's nice to have that free service. You get to watch it for free, you get tuned into the product, and then, hey, maybe you got to pay some bucks later on, or at some point, maybe they flip it back the other way. But you're not going to get more people tuned into your product if they have to get past the paywall.
Yeah.
Luckily, we will never paywall anybody over here at Shotgun Sports Network. Toronto Argonauts are on the clock with pick number 2. Who do you have them picking at pick number 2?
Their needs are defensive line, defensive back, and O-line. I would love to see them take an offensive tackle out of the NCAA.
Well, they just took an offensive lineman from Queens.
Okay. My one is Kevin Klein, but the other one is Nicholas Henning.
So there you
go.
Those
are the two guys that I want.
Money.
So let's see what they pick. Nicholas Henning.
Boom. Clay got it. So
out of Queens.
Yep.
Big guy. He's agreed to a futures contract with the Indianapolis Colts. And right now he's being projected as a sixth lineman off the bat, but he has played offensive tackle in U Sports as well. So that's a big plus. Unfortunately, it's right tackle, so that's going to give a little bit of back and forth with Ryan Hunter. Mm-hmm. So it's but he can also play some fullback and tight end as well if they want to run some of those sets.
Interesting.
But like I said, he's one of those guys that's signed NFL futures contract, so he's going down to camp with the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll see how well that goes down there.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those players, right, where you might be waiting a little bit before he reports. I'm seeing here Edmonton had the 3rd overall pick, but I'm seeing BC via Edmonton.
Oh, really?
This is interesting. Did the Edmonton Elks just make a trade? This doesn't make any sense. One moment. I'm looking into it. This doesn't make any sense. Because now on the CFL website, it's now saying BC. Did the Edmonton Elks just trade their pick? I'm not seeing anything here, so I'm not quite sure.
No, and TSN doesn't have anything there. Let's see if.
No, it says Edmonton's on the clock. So I mean, unless something has happened here, this is just maybe a typo on the CFL website. Yeah, because that wouldn't make any sense. But for now, it does say that the Edmonton Elks are on the clock. So let's talk some Elks. Let's talk a little bit of Elks. Yeah, I mean, I kind of want them to go for Albert Reese the 4th. It's kind of who I'm going for. It'd be nice to get the territorial, well, not a territorial pick, but like to get the hometown kid. O-line, played for Mississippi State. I forget exactly who he signed with. I want to say Panthers. I believe he signed with the Carolina Panthers, joining Chuba Hubbard and some other Canadians. The Carolina Panthers actually have a considerable amount of Canadians for it being the NFL. I want to say 4 or 5 Canadians on the Carolina Panthers roster. So they did sign Albert Reese, but you know what? Once again, kind of like the Toronto Argonauts went for went for one of the best players they could possibly grab, right? Like you said, he's going down to the NFL. Same deal. I'm hoping that the Edmonton Elks pick up a good one here in Albert Reese. That's who I'm hoping for. Now, Dave Campbell was stating, or, kind of gave his opinion that this is Dave Campbell with 880 Ched, the premier coverage for the Edmonton Elks. Great guys, awesome stuff. Always great insight as well. But I did ask, would you see Ed Hervey grabbing an O-line or a D-line based on the statement that Ed Hervey made, which was going for the best player possible? So it makes me wonder, like I know that the O-line is definitely stacked in Edmonton after taking a bunch of Ticats. And then the D-line is looking better than it was last year. Could still maybe use 1 or 2 more guys, or maybe some stiff competition there. You want to see the D-line better for the Edmonton Elks this year anyways, if you're an Elks fan. But once again, if you have the best player possible available, and if that's who you can grab, which, I mean, there is, a linebacker in Daryl Jabom, who's a linebacker for played for Rutgers. Maybe the Elks go that direction. These next kind of a couple of picks, I mean, there's no real clear, and really for this whole entire draft, really there is no clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I mean, Akeem Mesidor technically is the best player available, but who's going to take the chance?
When he's drafted in the first round of the NFL, he's not likely coming back for at least 4 years.
Exactly. I was going to say 5 years, right? Like make a 5-year plan based around that pick.
Yeah.
We've seen the Edmonton Elks draft guys and see them through all the way to the end of their careers. Stephen Charles was a pretty notable one that I can think of off the top, that I believe the Edmonton Elks drafted him. And if he wanted to play CFL football, obviously he had to come up to Canada and come to Edmonton specifically. I think he was here for like half a season or a quarter of a season. Didn't quite work out, and I think he signed with like the Riders or something like that not long after. So, these kind of scenarios kind of happen too, right? And I think that's the exact concern with selecting Akeem Mesidor, is now you're going, you're potentially going for 4, 5, 10 years without the guy that is supposed to be a big impact for your team. And that's where, once again, too, they say that in this draft, it's going to be a lot of value picks. There's going to be a lot of great talent in the middle of this draft order. So, we're going to be covering round 1 today in this virtual watch party. I don't know if we're going to necessarily dig into round 2 too much. That is obviously going to be on TSN as well. And then TSN Plus is going to be covering rounds, the following rounds after 3, 4, and 5, etc. So, yeah, I mean, it's a fun day. It's great times. Our last, I think, major, our first overall anyways, Joel DeBlanco, he's finally paying off 2 years later after he was drafted, right? 2 or 3 years later, I think he's going into his 3rd season now. So, I mean, Joel DeBlanco has paid off for this team, getting that premier first-round pick, somebody that can be a difference maker for your team, preferably within the first couple of years. It's
well, I mean, right? we're in the same boat too. We had Ryan Hunter had a very serviceable career down in the NFL. We waited, came up here. We've had a couple people who we tried, and we didn't want to sign them to a rookie deal. We wanted to actually pay them what they're worth, and those kind of fell apart. But yeah, we've done that, and then we've just brought in another Canadian who kind of went a slightly different route. Started out in the CFL, then went back down to the NFL relatively quickly, and Dakota Shepley now as our one of our premier guards. So, you mentioned you're probably looking at a linebacker. The guy that I would, if I were you, I'd probably look at would be Eric Rasko out of Angelo State. Great Canadian running back. He had he's one of those Americans that discovered he had Canadian ties, so filed all the paperwork and everything like that. He's came into the combine, from what I read, very, very keen to learn anything about the Canadian game he could. Okay. And that's a huge thing in my book.
Especially not being ignorant to it, right? Which a lot of these guys that do go down and play for the American colleges and whatnot, such as, like you said, Eric Rasko played for Angelo State. So I mean, he could have a massive ego on him too, right?
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. Real quick here, I would like to acknowledge everybody in the herd chat. What is up, everybody? We see you. We don't quite hear you. We read you though. We got here John Kirby, is in the herd chat. What up, John? We see Jamie Fadoon. New playoff format, more meaningful games in the CFL. He likes that new format. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. Don't you worry. Edmonton Elks are selecting Daryl Jabome, linebacker, Rutgers.
There you go. That was your guy.
That was one of your guys. I was wondering if they would select, if they do go for linebacker, which the Edmonton Elks are stacked at linebacker, right? Real quick on the stats: 71 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. I'm going to pull this back up. 2024 All Big Ten third team, 3-time academic All Big Ten. So he's got some good brains on him. Invited to Washington Commanders minicamp, so he has been eyed by the NFL, and he's ranked number 8 by the CFL Scouting Bureau. So this is exactly what we were just talking about. These picks, by the way, welcome to Edmonton, Daryl. But these, this first round, there's maybe 1, 2, or 3 clear-cut picks, right? I mean, even then, I don't think that Giordano did have in one of these mock drafts, he was first overall in the mock draft. So I mean, sure, people do kind of tout him up there, but I don't think that there was any clear cut, because once again, Keem Mesidor is still out there. There's other guys that could be selected ahead of him, right? So this is huge. Another linebacker to learn behind Nick Anderson, Brock Mogensen. Would be interesting to see kind of where he slots in. I think that he most likely will be starting on special teams. We'll see if he's playing alongside a team of Malcolm Clements on special teams, but we'll see. We'll see if he's going to be an instant impact. I think he will be playing within this year, so long the training camp and everything else goes well and he stays healthy and whatnot. But I like the pick. I like the pick because Marshall Ferguson even had him selected at number 4, being selected by Winnipeg. So, Herd Chat, let us know what you think of this pick. Do you think the Edmonton Elks got it right?
Yeah, you know what? I don't hate the pick at all. I'd say it's a good pickup for Edmonton as well. You get a guy who, and a linebacker, you're almost never going to have a guy coming out of college starting right away. Right. Almost never.
No.
So you have him, learn behind the guys right there, and if he's got outside shot at catching on with the NFL, but still, it's they're seeing is more likely to be coming up here, especially if they're picking him at number 4.
Totally. No, I agree. And especially too, if you're already kind of stacked in that position, or if you kind of already know the direction that you're going, it does offer a bit more developmental, right? Yeah. I do want to say the pronunciation is Jabome. So Jabome, Darrell, welcome to Edmonton once again. Winnipeg is now on the clock. Game day, baby. What up, Ken? In the Herd Chat does say draft day, baby. Jabome is headed to Edmonton. I think rookie camp is also a little bit exciting too. Like, I don't know. Do you get excited about rookie camp?
It's usually kind of the first taste that you get. So, that's coming up in 2 weeks, right? So we're not far away from actually. Rookie camp starts next week, and then training camp starts up in 2 weeks. So we're not far away from live footballs in the air. So
you can smell it in the air, it's really exciting. I get excited about it. It's mostly too because content starts rolling out, like that game day or that game week style content starts rolling out, and you see the players, you see the colors, you see these guys training it up down at Commonwealth or what is it, Lamport Stadium? What's it called? The training?
Yep. Lamport Stadium.
Perfect. Not far off. Let's take a look here. We do have nice. John Kirby here in the Herd Chat does have a question for you. He does ask, what do you think of the temporary seat bleachers at BMO Field in Toronto? Will they keep them for the CFL or remove them?
I think that I think the plan was to keep them for the season and then remove them in the off season. I'm not a huge fan of them, but basically because it's just going to make it look like more empty seats. Unfortunately, it's that's the sad thing about it. But out of this, once they clear them all out, and I think they just need the time in the off season to break these down, because these aren't, they're not one-time use temporary seats. These are things that companies store and they put up somewhere else. So they want to take it down systematically, carefully, make sure nothing gets broken, all that stuff. But the nice thing that's going to come out of this is underneath the north side bleachers that are there right now are brand new luxury boxes. So it's going to be a new thing. You're not going to see those empty stands. There's going to be luxury boxes there, and that included in that, although it's a caveat, it's a ticketed thing, but there is a rooftop patio.
I like that.
Be connecting the second level concourse with all three or both sides now. So you're going to be able to do that full loop around the stadium on the upper, or finally a full loop around the stadium now, and they're going to have nice luxury boxes, but we won't see that until really 2027. So the seats, They don't look great. If they could fill them, it would be fantastic. I think they should literally take this opportunity to, and as much as I don't like using it, paper the stands, and bring every single youth football player and every single U Sports, junior foot, and if you're involved in any kind of football that's non-professional, you should be getting a free ticket in these bleachers.
I like that. Clay's out here giving marketing ideas to the Toronto Argonauts, which I think we all agree that sometimes they could use it. But yeah, I like that idea. It's kind of the same way I feel about Commonwealth Stadium. I wish up in the corners we would sell $10 tickets, just get that building all filled up and, do it on the cheap and not charge people an arm and a leg for what may be a bad view, even though Commonwealth Stadium, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit biased, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever a bad view. But yeah,
we did miss the Winnipeg pick.
The Winnipeg pick.
It is newer.
Gatkuth, yeah.
Gatkuth from Wake Forest, defensive lineman.
Edmonton boy. An Edmonton boy. It would be interesting to see where he played for in Edmonton, if he played in Edmonton. Austin O'Brien. So he's an AOB boy. So, yeah, pretty cool. Another Edmonton. We have quite a few Edmonton prospects here in this draft, which is a testament to how great our city has been at developing talent. So that's pretty cool. You always like to see that. I didn't quite catch, which position was he again?
He's a defensive end.
Defensive end. Okay.
Yeah, had to. They list him as a defensive lineman because they list everybody's defensive lineman or all offensive linemen. But you go to Ben Grant's sheet and he differentiated them a little bit for us. So he's got him listed as a defensive end at Wake Forest. So
shout out Ben Grant.
Yeah. Yeah. He's yeah.
In reference, even talking about, Edmonton guys making it out there into the NFL. 2 Edmonton boys are on the Panthers now. So that's pretty exciting. Hey man, Edmonton's finally getting it done. We all know that Ontario takes a fair portion of the pie when it comes to the chart of where Canadian NFL players come from.
Well, I mean, there's more people here. It's plain and simple, right? There's more people here.
That's fair.
In Southern Ontario alone, 50% of Canada's population is housed in Southern Ontario. That's why we have so many universities here, right? It's why we have the majority of the immigrants coming to this area, because there's so many people here.
Well, in BC is much of the same. So like BC, Vancouver is also crazy high for production on football players, right? On athletes that specialize in football. Like it's crazy. And I mean, once again, sure, that might have to do with population. It's quite a few people. But for whatever reason, BC and Vancouver specifically, I mean, even going back to the Grey Cup, early Grey Cup days, 1950s, 1960s, and, eventually them going over to Empire Stadium and, using Vancouver kind of going east and west. They're all kind of, Vancouver's always kind of been like a hub like that for Canadian football. So you do love to see it. Once again, a big shout out to everybody that is watching the CFL Draft with us here on Shotgun Sports Network. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, favorite buttons, all that good stuff. Scout Hnatuik here from the Elks Herd and the Elks Call. Clay Chisholm from the Argos Fancast. Having some fun watching the CFL Draft. We're 4 picks down. We're on to the 5th pick right now. Hamilton Tiger Cats are on the clock.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I can pick the least likely player to suit up for Hamilton just by pure spite. So yeah, I don't want them to. I'm going to be flat. I'm going to be Homer here. I don't want them to get anybody good. They're probably looking O-line. Usually, it's where everybody looks in the first round.
Kevin Klein. Do you think Kevin Klein is this is where he gets selected?
I could definitely see Kevin Klein going there. Kevin Klein's also signed with the undrafted free agent with the Miami Dolphins as well.
Right.
So there's a chance there. But yeah, Kevin Klein. I wouldn't be shocked if they go for your boy Albert Reese IV as well. There's an outside chance they could look to pick up a linebacker that could play behind Wynton McManus as well too.
Right.
So you never know. And then there's also a good chance they could go for the first DB off the board too, because they have a tendency to do that.
I do wonder though, because the Edmonton Elks just robbed the Hamilton Tiger Cats of all of their O-line. We have the pick coming up here right about now. Stuart Johnson is announcing. Of course, we have audio off. It is Jonathan Dennis. Jonathan Dennis, offensive lineman, Louisiana Tech.
Okay, so they're going interior.
Yeah.
Jonathan Dennis is a guard, and he also played some center as well.
Interesting.
So they're going interior, and I mean that's a lot of players or a lot of CFL teams like to have American tackles out there, so they probably have guys they're eyeing up there. But yeah, big guy, big in the middle. He's got versatility, can play both guard positions and center. So
now Jonathan Dennis did have some injuries in his college career. So it's Hamilton must be really, really high on him because he was also projected to go 19th overall.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Dennis, and this is, of course, Marshall Ferguson's mock draft. By the way, I did figure out what happened. Marshall Ferguson believed that Edmonton was going to trade down and BC was going to trade up. So I figured that out now. It didn't make sense to me because I'm like, okay, when did this happen? I think I would have seen if a trade had happened. We are very connected on information like that. And so that wasn't making sense. So apologies to everybody that was listening earlier. We figured out why I can't read. But in this one of these mock drafts here, Marshall Ferguson believed that the Edmonton Elks and the BC Lions would switch up their picks. All right. Do we want to get to the elephant in the room here, Clay?
All right, what elephant are we speaking of?
There were some announcements today. There were some announcements today. We'll talk about it now just because we don't want to cut this piece short. Of course, we're going to get back to some more draft conversation after this topic as well, but it's been a hot one today. It's been a bit of a spicy topic, and I think it deserves some attention. So let's just get to the facts here on today's announcement from the CFL. The CFL will be changing the playoff format in 2027, allowing 8 teams to make it into the playoffs with a play-in. Additionally, the regular season will start on Victoria Day and it will end on Thanksgiving. That's the third major set of changes within 18 months for CFL fans that, from what we've seen, aren't exactly the biggest fans of change when it comes to their beloved traditional Canadian football. I have my own opinions about it, but let's talk about your opinion first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to look at the 1 and 2 seeds in the East and West are still going to occupy those, but the number 1 seed is no longer going to get a bye. right? They're going to play the winner of their now called play-in games. So that you're going to have the 5 seed overall play the 8 seed overall, regardless of conference, and then the 6 seed play the 7 seed, regardless of conference. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they're going to separate those, whether or not they're going to base it on the overall performance of the official number 1 seed, where the lower seeds go over that way. In a 19 league, I think this is a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Personally, if it was accompanied by a expansion announcement to 12 teams, then yes, I'm okay with that. But yeah, as of this point, no.
Yeah, I'm
but I'll take it. I'm not gonna, not say I'm not gonna go to 2 playoff games a year.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense, especially without an expansion, right? Calgary Stampeders, Eric Carrasco, linebacker, Angelo State. Calgary Stampeders picked up Eric Carrasco. But getting back to the rule changes, I think that it kind of makes the regular season a little bit meaningless, or at least more meaningless than what it was. Somebody at Shotgun Sports Network had made a really good point today about how you take a look at the NLL and you take a look at the PWHL, you look at these other leagues that have less teams, and it's generally around 50% of the teams make it into the playoffs. Even if you only have 4 teams playing in the playoffs, hey, then that's what you're rolling with, and you're giving an equal 50% chance, or sorry, you're giving those people that were above that 500 win-loss ratio, you're giving those people a chance now by allowing 8 out of 9 teams to play. And we already had a problem with teams that were potentially 500 making it into the playoffs. This was already a conversation that people were having, right?
Yeah. And it's not, let's not split hairs. It's not going to prevent us from going to games at all. We're going to go to games regardless. It's just going to give a lot more credence to whoever's coming in hot, or whoever gets on a hot streak to begin the playoff season, right? There's a very good chance you could get a number 8 team, the second worst team in the league, winning the Grey Cup because they caught a hot start.
Yeah, either a hot start or a hot finish, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
time and time again, we see teams that have the best streak at the end of the season make it to the Grey Cup and win it. Hey, a big fan of when the Double E did that in 2015, but we see it time and time again. It's a part of the playoff, sure. But now you're leaving the playoffs more so up to chance, in my opinion, and luck. What happens if a team gets injured? Even though in the old rules, maybe they wouldn't have had to play one of those first 2 games to the bye week or whatever, might have been able to rest their guys on week 18 or whatever. Which really, depending on where you're at, it's not like you're really that scared of missing out of the playoffs anymore in the CFL. You could probably coast at points. It makes the CFL look a little Mickey Mouse, in my opinion. I'm not the greatest fan of the optics. I think, of course, Victoria Day to Thanksgiving for the schedule, I do like that. It would have been better if, let's say, we have traditional playoffs past that Thanksgiving point. And like I said, my opinion is mostly based on the fact that I enjoy a competitive CFL league. I enjoy competition. I think that by letting 8 out of 9 teams into the playoffs, I agree with what a lot of other fans are stating right now or expressing. You are making the regular season just that much more meaningless. I don't see the logic in it. I get that it's more revenue for the teams in the league. I understand that you can create more revenue by putting more butts in the seats by having another potential home game at home, another potential home game, but and to be able to take home that revenue and everything else. But don't you think that the CFL has maybe explored this route in the past, and there's a reason why this book was maybe locked away up on a high shelf? Like, you know?
Yeah, it's the one like it's the one change he's made that I'm gonna have a hard time justifying. I can look at all the other changes and I can see a lot more benefits for those changes than I can for this one. Yeah, it is. We did miss a pick here. So Calgary, I believe, traded up to pick linebacker Eric Roscoe at Evangelo State.
Yeah, no, I did mention that. Thank you very much for following up on it, though. I didn't realize that was a trade-up scenario.
I thought the trade up because I'm just looking. Well, it could be another one of those things. I'm looking at Marshall Ferguson's draft order, and he had, I believe, BC in that spot.
Well, no, yeah, Calgary just did select, right? So,
yeah.
So great graphic here. If everybody's watching right now on TSN, they have the draft board there from best available, and right now the Double E with picking Jabomi. That pick is the best overall so far that they could have picked. Albert Reese is still up on the board. So, maybe they can grab Albert Reese in one of the later rounds, right?
Yep.
Interesting. BC Lions are now on the clock. We'll see. Marshall Ferguson does have them selecting Logan Taylor, offensive lineman from Boston College. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is also a little bit more of a fringe pick for Marshall Ferguson. I could be wrong. What do you have on Ben Grant's draft board there?
Well, Ben Grant. I've just got his draft board here, right? So that's
right.
It's who's on there. He's still got his top pick out there is Malcolm Bell.
Okay.
And then he's got defensive end Wesley Bailey out of Louisville.
Okay.
Still up there, obviously Kevin Klein, and then Spencer Walsh is out of Wilfrid Laurier. He's another guard center.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if BC goes for another offensive lineman because they want to have insurances that they're going to have guys coming up in the pipeline to keep Nathan Rourke upright.
Well, and that's part of the year over year with a football team, right? Just constantly trying to build upon it as opposed to take away from it. And Nathan Rourke, could you only imagine? I mean, I think that BC's offensive line hasn't been bad. I don't think that their offensive line has been bad, but like you said, it's about keeping guys in the pipeline, right? All right, let's take a look here at the herd chat. Ashley Johnston says, throw batteries at Jonathan Dennis and Hamilton Tiger Cats. I like it. One Red Hawk says about the rule changes, I'll play devil's advocate about the 18 bracket. More football. Hey, you know
exactly.
We got some sound effects for
I will gladly shell out for a second breakfast tailgate.
Why not? Why not, right? I like a good breakfast tailgate. BC Lions pick up right now. Nathan DeMontignac, right? I believe so. Nathan DeMontignac, North Dakota wide receiver from Sauga City, who was actually projected to go 6th overall by Marshall Ferguson. So that's a good pick for them.
Yeah.
And a wide receiver as well. BC Lions, a Canadian wide receiver, that Canada to Canada connection with Nathan Rourke. That'll be nice. We're taking a look at the tape now as per on your TV screens.
Yeah, it's relatively fast. 4.56 will put him third at the CFL Combine.
Okay.
So it's a fast guy. And that's one of the needs that BC had a needed receiver. They were starting to get a little thin, and they want some weapons for Nathan Rourke. And, you got a guy from Mississauga who went to North Dakota. So, he's not – I mean, they play in a dome down there. So, not super
acclimated.
But he'll fit well in BC, I think.
And Cody Wiles also had him going at 15th overall in his draft board. So,
yeah, and Ben Grancy had him set at where are we here? He had him at 19.
There you go. So. Marshall Ferguson has been pretty on point, I will say.
Yeah.
In his draft board, in his mock drafts. A big shout out to everybody that is tuned in to our draft watch party over here at Shotgun Sports Network. Hit the like, subscribe, favorite buttons, all that good stuff. Really appreciate everybody being here with us today on this lovely CFL rule change / CFL draft day. Just brutal timing with that announcement too, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to pump up the future of the Canadian football. We're trying to pump up the future of this sport, and instead we get future bad news. It's like, I guess I shouldn't say bad news, but we get future news. I'm not going to put words in anybody else's mouths, but it's like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, I'm not. It's the timing is very peculiar. I don't think the CFL is very good at timing these things, historically anyway. They either try to drop them when they don't think anybody's watching, or drop them right before something big has happened.
Right before the Super Bowl or something, yeah. I mean, we've seen them pull this, or right on Grey Cup Day or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. We'll see it again. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
Jamie Padoon here in the herd chat. Sorry, Clay. Jamie, I just wanted to bring up his message real quick. Regular season games will still matter. It's good to try to be first and second in either division, so you could get a bye for the third round of the playoffs, right? Yeah, and I mean that's a positive. The thing that I will say, I know that we've talked a little bit negative about the rule changes, but there are actually a lot of people that are positive about the rule changes and are looking forward to it. And I think a lot of people are just happy to cheer Canadian football, such as Jamie, which is great. Always a big fan of that. Don't ever let this league die. But the flip side of it is, obviously we just do not want our beloved CFL to change too much to the point where it feels like an NFL light. And I think that's always going to be the...
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to be we're not going to be worried about that. I don't think.
No, I mean, I know that the 3 down is sacred, and it seems like a lot of things surrounding the 3 down part are kind of falling apart there. Not falling apart, but they're changing, and of course fans are getting really upset about it. It seems like we're inching closer and closer to touching the 3 down, and I think that's what has everybody really worried.
Yeah, and the one thing that I want to touch on here that I don't think we necessarily outlined is the winner of that 1-2 game is going on to the official semifinal.
Yeah.
The loser of that game goes on to face the winner of the playing game. So it's not like even if you lose your division round series, you got a second elimination game to try and make it in there. So
which is an interesting concept too, because I don't think I can't think of any professional sports league that does this.
I think you're looking close to a curling style.
Curling, thank you. Yes, curling. Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, that's what people are saying, is that this is very, very, very similar to curling.
Yeah.
I know it's one of these episodes where we just have to keep on jumping back into the draft, but Rohan Jones was selected, tight end out of Arkansas, selected by the Montreal Alouettes. So Rohan Jones is off the board.
6'2", 235. Probably will play some fullback as well, but definitely going to be special teamers right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because he was projected to go 14th overall by both Marshall Ferguson and Cody Wiles from TSN. Both of these guys obviously are TSN guys.
Yeah, and Ben Grant had him as a fullback going at number 8.
So there you go. So Ben Grant had that one, I would say, out of all three of these mock draft cheat sheets. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. I think, I know we keep on going back to it, but I think with the rule changes, if I'm trying to close it out here, I think that 3 major changes all within an 18 month span is really going to be the test. That 18 months is essentially starting regular season day 1, or maybe even preseason, let's say, for CFL fans. It's going to be a giant trial, a giant 18-month trial. And at the end of that trial, if fans don't want to renew their seats, then the CFL is going to see the revenue change in one of 2 ways. And the results are one of 3, right? Either the money goes up, the money goes down, or everything stays the same and the changes really didn't do anything. That's all that we can really expect, I think, as CFL fans going into this. And hey, if you want to speak with your money now and not renew and everything, then that's your choice. That's your prerogative. People speak with their money, as we say. Hey man, I'm never going to tell anybody how to fan either. So if that's what needs to happen in order for the CFL to maybe understand what's happening, whether it be the positive or the negative or whatever, I think it's just going to take that 18 months. And no matter what, we are probably in for the ride, and we can be frustrated today. We can be upset today and everything until we actually sit through the games and actually see the product, right down to the 2027 playoff changes. We really don't know how this will go.
No, and the one thing that I want to actually bring up too is when we've had previous commissioners, they kept going, okay, the lame duck commissioner can't get anything done, and then we get a guy who comes in and does a shit ton in a very short amount of time, and everybody wants him fired now because he got some things done, but it wasn't and this might go over your head, but for Toronto fans, hamburgers on the east side, that's what they wanted done, and more thunder sticks for the kids. That was what came out of town halls that for the Argos, and you finally get a guy who does something, and everybody wants him gone already, saying he's ruining the game. Well, you wanted something done. I'm sorry it's not East Side Thunderburgers, but not everything's going to be, something like that. You got a guy who made some changes that I think, and I know everybody's going to hate me for this, but the moving to the 100-yard field is the best thing for the CFL.
For expansion, anyways.
Yes, absolutely. But hey, you're going to actually have a field that's almost fully grass. Right now, they believe it's going to be fully grass in Toronto. There's a chance there could be some stripes at the end of the end zone, but it's also going to be able to be shifted back and forth to preserve the integrity of that grass too. So, on your only natural surface in the league, you're going to have that. And then you got places like Montreal, where they're refurbishing the Big O, but they've also got Saputo Stadium, as well. That if for whatever reason, because the infrastructure is not great at McGill Stadium, it is very old, and it's going to happen. They can move to Saputo and not miss a beat, right? And you've got all these soccer fields all over Canada now that we've got teams in that, some of them would require us to expand for a CFL audience, but they're already there. The infrastructure's already run there. It's just expanding. It's not a brand new stadium. It's not, we have to reinvent the wheel. We have to go through and, get tons of money from local governments that aren't going to want to do it. I think that's probably the best change that he's made, and I will die on that hill.
Well, no, and it's great to hear that point of view as well, because I think that people are out with pitchforks a little bit too often. I know we make jokes about it on our socials and everything, and had a pretty good meme today and everything else, but we don't publicly outcry on any of this stuff. I think today's maybe like the first time, right? But but talking about, let's say, the positive in changes, and even talking about the field size, you take a look at the UFL has been utilizing soccer stadiums as their new venues for UFL teams, right? They're finding ways, instead of going into these massive stadiums and having it look like, I hate to say it, an Edmonton Elks game in the middle of 2023, to prevent that, or to prevent having to spend money on tarps or extra advertising or whatever you may need to do to cover all of your costs, to now all of a sudden downsize a large stadium. No, utilize these smaller soccer stadiums. And quite frankly, like, it is a very cookie cutter design. These soccer stadiums all look the same all across Europe, even down in the States where they're erecting these. They all look the same. But you know what? If it's cost effective and it brings more teams and allows more people to enjoy it, and maybe you can have more outdoor concerts, or maybe Red Deer, like a place like Red Deer, all of a sudden could have a 20,000 soccer stadium, and hey, maybe they actually support a soccer team or something like that. I know it sounds crazy, but it does allow you that. And 25,000 would probably be ideal, I think, if you're looking at a soccer stadium. 30,000, right? But it's not that massive Commonwealth, and it's not that small. You need to expand, kind of like a BMO scenario when the FIFA World Cup rolls through. I do want to get to this Saskatchewan Roughriders pick. Defensive back Malcolm Bell from Michigan State is officially off the board. I think Saskatchewan got a good one in Malcolm Bell.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys that's signed a I'm not sure if it was a futures deal or a mini camp invite. But he was, at one point, he was projected as the number one pick. I know Ben Grant had him at number one on his board. And I think Saskatchewan was going to go either receiver or DB at this point. I have a feeling now that they've done DB, they're going to go Canadian receiver at their next pick, based on some of the off-season incidents that have happened, and the loss of a Joe.
Yep.
So DB still, it's one of those needs. They've got some aging guys in the backfield there, in the defensive backfield that they're at some point, some of the Roland Milligan, they're not the youngest guys anymore. But if you have a guy you can bring in, and they're probably going to wait for him too, right? Like I said, this is going to be the draft of waiting for your guys.
Well, Malcolm Bell did accept an NFL rookie mini camp invite from the Cleveland Browns. Did he actually sign with the Browns after that?
I wasn't sure if it was which one it was. Just trying to see here.
So otherwise, Malcolm Bell is most likely going straight to the CFL and looking to play out a very similar career, let's say, to JoJo.
Yeah. Yeah. So if he doesn't catch on with the Cleveland Browns after this minicamp, because he's only accepted the invite to minicamp, hasn't signed a futures deal yet. So once if he doesn't catch on, then he's probably coming up north, and that's a good gift for Saskatchewan.
No, that is a good pick. A little bit jealous. Malcolm Bell, DB, defensive back, going to Saskatchewan from Michigan State. Pierre here in the herd chat. What is up, Pierre? In terms of a significant game change, 100 yards versus 110 yards is not hard to apply. The emotional part of seeing the 55 on a CFL field is hard for some. Are you going to miss it, Clay?
Yeah, I'm going to miss a 55-yarder, but it's not something that's going to stop me from doing anything, right? It's a nice nostalgic thing, but at the end of the day, like, it's all football, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, we're not going to go and get, hey, well, don't see this anymore. Yeah, it's too bad. Like, we're not going to see ever a 110-yard touchdown return. It just
certain things, it makes sense, right?
Right, you're going to get some of those unbreakable records at this point, but it's not something. Hey, at one point you couldn't throw a forward pass, right? And now that is 70% of our game.
Yeah, it's game needs to be evolved at some point too, right? And then, as we said, I know that we've already talked about it, but the board of governors, which is the owners and main operators of the teams, they all wanted a change. They all wanted something different, right? So if that's what it takes, is Stuart Johnson doing this. And I think the other thing that people seem to forget as well is the fact that this isn't necessarily permanent. This isn't necessarily something that you can't turn back. Stuart Johnson has stated so himself. If they really need to roll something back, then they will. Now, looking at the draft board, we are into the second round. We do have picks 10 through 20. There is a national snap reward for a couple of those picks in that round. So it will be interesting. I do wonder if maybe we see Carter Kettle get selected here in the second round. It could be a thing. I don't know.
I wouldn't be shocked to see one of those extra picks get if it doesn't happen, get thrown at the defensive lineman from Miami, who all of a sudden Mazzardo or something like that.
Mesidor. Yeah. You know what? You maybe that.
I mean, if I'm one of those teams, Winnipeg or Edmonton. Damn right. If he doesn't get picked in the second round, and there's no other guy that on the board that can give you an impact right away, I throw that pick in there. I don't think I wouldn't think he'd be picked until a few more rounds later. But hey,
Keem Mesidor is just such a gamble. Such a gamble, man.
Yeah.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers just select tight end Dante Daniels from North Carolina State. Dante Daniels.
Where is he on this board here?
Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Dante Daniels. So I'm not seeing him pop up immediately. I'm just looking. Yeah, this is a little bit more off the board for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They must be really high on this guy. Dante Daniels. I'm looking him up in my cheat sheets right now.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding him as well.
This guy is like completely off the board. This is crazy. Do the Blue? I think the Blue Bombers think they have a secret good one here.
Yeah, they must. Well, they must, right?
A sleeper pick. Yeah, this is interesting. So here we go. We got drama. See, good thing we stuck around for the second round, man. We got drama in the CFL draft today. Completely off the board. I'm not seeing him anywhere in any of the documents that I have. Dante Daniels, 87th projected to go 87th by Cody Wiles. So. Yep. This guy, like, I don't know. He must have had a really good interview, or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers just believe this is the guy. Like, I don't know. I didn't see where he's from.
and he's projected as a fullback in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
It found him on Ben Grant's board. He has 90 picks on there, and Dante Daniels is number 89.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dante Daniels is number 87 on Cody Wiles. So this is a little bit interesting.
Yeah, way off the board here.
Boy, that is pretty darn off the board, I would say. That's a little bit wild. But hey, I like it. Hey, who knows, right? Like, I mean, this guy might end up being a stud. That's the beauty of the draft. As we know, the famous Tom Brady story, right? What was he, 5th round or something?
Yeah.
So
his stats are not. They're not looking at the stats for this guy. They are looking at purely his blocking ability.
Okay.
I mean, his stats in college. At 2 years at NC State, you're looking at a total of 10 catches for 106 yards.
Yeah, this guy is definitely a blocking fullback. I think that it might be safe to say that this guy is a blocking fullback in that case.
Yeah, he's a Windsor, Ontario native, big guy, 6'6", 272. So you'll probably have to shed. Well, I don't know, 6'6", that carrying that 272 is not that bad either. So yeah, you might shed a little bit. But yeah, who knows?
The life of a fullback is just it is funny in the CFL because a fullback maybe sees one catch a year. A pure blocking fullback.
Yeah, or you look at the the career of Dwayne Ford, right? He would have been a prototypical tight end in this era for the NFL. But he was a fullback and a power guy, and could run through you, could block anybody. But he might all of a sudden have a game where he has 4 or 5 catches for 100 yards and runs for 250-yard runs as well, right?
Right.
He just once you get that power going, it's hard to bring that down. And 6'6", 272, you're hard to bring down standing still.
Oh yeah.
You get that momentum going, and I think they are looking at a lot of things that we're not seeing at this guy. But yeah, he's even big for CFL standards. He's really big for CFL standards for a fullback. So
yeah, we'll see what he must be fast, and he must be really hard to peel down. Because I mean, Especially if the stats aren't really showing anything crazy there, then, or maybe at the combine, Winnipeg really liked what they saw, and maybe he had more of those plays than less. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what if he was a bit of a stud at the combine? Unfortunately, didn't quite get to see him. I mean, I'm sure I did see his number briefly, but my eyes were not exactly focused that away. We do have a question here in the herd chat. I see they're also doing some other stuff here. Clay, are you all good to hang out until the end of this next Edmonton Elks pick?
Absolutely.
Then we can get on with the rest of the draft off air. But this has been an absolute blast. Can't thank everybody enough for being with us here today on this lovely CFL Draft Tuesday. Question here from John Scout. What are your thoughts on playing at Clark Stadium on May 29th? What could they add to make that game special? Great question, John. I appreciate it. I do think that the Edmonton Elks game, the night at the Knot Hole, is going to be an absolute blast. I can't be more excited. I'm row 1-for-1, which is pretty cool. But it's going to be great to see it's going to be nice to see the Edmonton Elks play in a home other than Commonwealth Stadium. I think that it's going to be a great night. I do wish that they had a lot more throwback merch. I do have my own throwback merch that was designed a couple years ago because I had no clue that this was coming. So I have some stuff that I have kind of designed, but unfortunately can't release. But I wish I would have seen more merch, maybe some throwback jerseys. If you do want a sick throwback jersey to wear at the night of the Knot Hole game, head on over to royalretros.com and you can get that almost exact jersey that they did used to wear. Obviously, it might not be the exact, but it's pretty darn close. It's got the classic stripes. It's very similar to what they used to wear in Clark Stadium. So once again, that's royalretros.com. I believe what is it called? I will get you the exact name on this one on Royal Retros, but I believe the Argonauts one is called like Double Blue Beauty or something like that. I will actually tell you this here ASAP. Historic. We are getting there. Looks like we got a little bit of a break here on the CFL Draft, which is great. I would like to get to our picks because I'm very excited now. I want to see who the Edmonton Elks are going to select here with their second pick.
I want to see the Elks put a marching band in there, or a school band in one of the end zones of Clark Stadium.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for answering that one. So we do have a marching band, like they do have a band, right? But so I mean, I would assume they're going to
get a couple high school bands. You just blow it up, and go full on retro because on those on the old stadiums they always had a band, and it's one of the great things about watching U.S. college ball is you hear that band all the time, and that would just add to the nostalgia. Just put a bunch of guys in there in one of those end zones and just have them go nuts.
Oh, that would be amazing. I like it. It get the high school bands in. High school bands is the key. I believe the Sherwood Park Crusaders did that. Getting back to the jersey in which you should purchase from royalretros.com to look the part at Clark Stadium for the night at the Knot Hole, it's called the 5-Pete jersey. 5-Pete jersey, of course. And then, of course, the Argos-inspired one is called the Boatman jersey. Speaking of Argos, the pick is in. Isaiah Smith, running back from Guelph. 6 foot, 230 pounds from Burlington, Ontario. Running back heading to Toronto.
Not necessarily the running back I was expecting them to go after.
Who did you think that they were going to go after?
I wanted them to go after the guy from Windsor, who I can't say his name. Where is he here?
Moment, I'm going to pull him up as well. Let me see.
Yeah, but I mean, Ben had him as his top rank. Isaiah Smith is his top ranked running back anyway.
Okay.
So it'd be Wegme Mombo from Windsor is the one guy that I thought they would go after.
Okay.
But this guy, Ben obviously saw him as higher, but I mean, he had the running backs going in the 40s here, right? It's gonna provide us with some depth in there, and spell some few reps here and there. It's always good to have a Canadian in there, but I think he'll start out as a special teams guy, and he's a guy that as of right now doesn't have anything concrete as far as it goes down south. So he's a guy that's going to be in camp, and won't be hard for him. He won't be far from where he's played. They're going to be in Guelph until August. So he'll be used to that field. He'll be able to get comfortable with the team in his home stadium.
No, and that's nice, right? I'm sure for the player, for Isaiah Smith, it's going to help him out a lot, being familiar with the turf, having the Argonauts in his former home, which, that's an easy transition. It's kind of like when you see the Golden Bears players all around at the combine, and they're kind of meshing with like the double E, and it's like, some players have kind of gone over that way as well. So, I think it's only beneficial when you have those scenarios, and it might even draw out the best out of the player, which is also great. Isaiah Smith was potentially going at number 45 here in Cody Wiles' CFL Draft mock draft board. We do have a couple comments here on the night at the Knot Hole. Are they going to have a video replay scoreboard for the preseason game at Clark? I would assume not. I would assume that there will be no video replay, just like the old days, which is great. There's also no instant replays as per John, and he believes limited concession stands and bathrooms at Clark Stadium. So, I mean, there is 2 concession stands at Clark Stadium. I wouldn't be surprised to see food trucks come in. Don't be surprised if you see food trucks. Don't be surprised to see the porta potties. Don't be surprised to see maybe even water stations. Just don't be surprised to see a couple things out of place. The EE are going to do everything they can to accommodate all of the fans, the 10,000-ish that will be going to the night at the Knot Hole game. Do you know much about this game, by the way, Clay?
No, I didn't. I didn't know they're playing their preseason game at Clark there. But it sounds like it's going to be very similar to our preseason game in Guelph. We have you come in on the one side. Unfortunately, they only have one side of the stadium, but you have food trucks set up on the small parking lot they have there, and that's all open. You can go back and forth from the stands to in there, and they've got some bathrooms, but they've also got a lot of porta potties set up for everybody that's going to be there.
It's almost like teams have done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and a beer garden, and obviously a beer garden.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, you can't have football. Technically, you can. Okay, I'm not going to say you can't because that makes you sound like an alcoholic. But you can have a football game without beer. But what's the fun in that?
Yeah, and with the other thing too, with a lot of these smaller stadiums, is they're not licensed to serve in the stands. So you have the beer gardens to accommodate those people that want to have a beer with their game.
Well, and of course, we got the tailgate right outside of Clark Stadium. Coming up right now, we do have the Edmonton Elks pick. It is in Benjamin Sangmoa? Sangmoa? Is it Sangmoa, I want to say? Benjamin Sangmoa, linebacker, UBC T-Birds, 6'3", 205 pounds from Scarborough, Ontario. Another linebacker. So, and this guy was actually invited to Indianapolis Colts minicamp. So, another one of those players that could potentially make the NFL. Bigger body on him. Yeah, I mean, this is going to make training camp really interesting. I don't know exactly where he slots in on the field. I'm not good at reading that off of these replays, but and obviously, I'm sure they're probably talking about it on their commentary on the TV. Unfortunately, we are without the sound here. So, but no matter what,
it looks like he's probably closer to he's a linebacker DB kind of guy.
Right.
From what I'm seeing, he's playing a lot of corner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to find him on the boards. I know Marshall Ferguson didn't have him going till the 5th round,
right?
For pick number 47. But yeah, he's and then Ben Grant had him going 35. So he's going to play DB for you. Probably like looks like a guy that can go up for those 50-50 balls.
Why did I think linebacker? Sorry, I don't know why I thought linebacker. Yeah. He's a defensive back.
Defensive back.
Defensive back. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we'll play some corner, probably inside a little bit as well. But he's going to be one of those guys that chance he can develop. But if you can develop a Canadian corner, that's a great thing to have.
No, definitely, especially when you already have Tyrell Ford in one of those corners, Canadian in that spot. You know, you got to think succession plan. You got to think of what ifs, what may happen. And to have some insurance policy there is absolutely amazing. Cody Wiles did have D-back Benjamin Sangwa going at number 25. So obviously, once again, the Edmonton Elks saw something that they liked, and they selected from maybe a lower round or a lower pick. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll take it. And like I said, with Cody Wiles, it's kind of interesting how he did his draft board. He does have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and a tier 4. We're not seeing any, if many, of the tier 2 guys. I want to say Logan Taylor did get selected. Yeah, Logan Taylor did get selected, I believe, Boston College. Yeah. But outside of that, I don't think anybody else has really been selected out of that tier 1 or tier 2. Tier 1 is just Akeem Mesidor. So, I mean, he's in a league of his own, a tier of his own, as we say. But it is very, very interesting. I mean, these CFL teams are more so going for instant impact players as opposed to players that they could potentially wait 4, 5, 10 years on.
Mm-hmm.
Pierre also does mention Sangwa, 4.44 on the 40-yard dash, second fastest in the combine. That is actually a stat to keep an eye on. So that means we got a pretty fast DB. And when you're launching or when the other team's launching a long bomb and you need to get there fast, he just might be part of the solution moving forward. So that's I like it. I like that pick. I'm happy.
He's 6'1", so he's not on the shorter side, which you normally have. That's normally the trade-off you get for the fast DBs, is you get those guys that are 5'10", and that little bit does make a difference.
Totally. No, that's a great pick for us. Looks like the Argonauts have gotten a couple good picks as well, and of course, every other team in the CFL is snatching up the good ones while they can. So, round 2 of the CFL Draft is popping off. Clay, I know that we've been on here for a minute. I will let you go, and we can jump off of here, but just kind of wondering what your final thoughts on this episode.
It's a lot of fun. Got to do more of this stuff. It was a lot of fun doing this, especially talking some of the U Sports players and the Canadian players that are down south. I love doing this stuff, so it's fun. I think from the Argos standpoint, I think they got a couple of good guys, and we'll just see how well that goes. 'Cause we're probably going to see some really interesting picks coming up. We already saw one that was way off the board, so we're going to start to see some of those go pretty fast. And the combine record for fastest was 4.5. So his 4.4 was in his pro day.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So or a regional combine, but yeah, at the national combine it was 4.5 was the fastest one. So you got a fast guy there, and yeah, that's
speed matters in this league, man. Speed matters.
Yeah.
Oh no, good stuff. Clay, yeah, this has been fantastic today. I think that this was a blast for an episode. We had some CFL news to talk about. We had a great audience on this show tonight. A big shout out to everybody for swinging by the CFL Draft watch party. And now I'm going to get excited for all of those crazy picks that you were just talking about, because I know that once we get into the third round, we're going to start seeing names kind of fly from all across the board. And like I said, we at the CFL Combine, we were watching Carter Kettle, Franklin Ibello, and Charles Aslan. So we're really excited to see if these guys get selected in the CFL Draft. And we will let everybody else enjoy from their houses and their dwellings. But Clay, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Absolute treat. We'll be sure to have you on again soon, my man. And then where can our guests find you on social media?
You can find me at all kinds of Clay on all the social medias out there. But you can find, more importantly, you can find the Argos Fancast. It pretty much okay, let me start that again. I got to do my whole spiel. You can find the Argos Fancast anywhere you find your friendly neighborhood podcast. Just search Argos Fancast. So yeah, we're on all the socials. We're a little bit slow right now, but we're going to be ramping up pretty quickly because the CFL season's starting up soon. So we're going to be back on the air on May 5th is when our next recording is. So we'll get ready for season 10 of the Argos Fancast.
May 5th, season 10.
Yes.
Crazy, massive. Let's give you a little bit of. We'll hit the buttons for that one. Season 10, May 5th. That's going to be Argos Fancast returns. I know our Double E fans might not be the biggest fans of the Boatmen, but hey, you know what? Love the Argonauts. I'd probably be an Argos fan. I've said it time and time again, but I'd probably be an Argos fan if I wasn't a Double E fan. Great history. And you guys, most importantly, you guys do amazing stuff. So once again, if you're listening to this episode, watching us on Shotgun Sports Network, go check out Argos Fancast. That's May 5th, the return of Argos Fancast. And then May 6th, the Elks Call officially returns. Got a pretty big guest lined up. It's going to be an absolute blast. And we'll be at Fan Day this year as well. Kind of doing some fan interviews and some player interviews as well. So it's CFL season, baby. We're just about back. Malik Mega just went. Hamilton Tiger Cats. Look, the picks are flying off the board. Yep. We'll let everybody else enjoy this. Once again, this episode was brought to you by Royal Retros. Oh, and
before we go, I need to drop a little bit of an Easter egg here for anybody watching games this year.
I like it.
I have learned of a new method to make a very Argonauts noise for home games. So right now I have 4 of these instruments built. They will be making their debut. Hopefully I'll have one of them at the preseason game, but watch for some different noises coming out of the end zone at Argonauts game.
I think probably,
it'll be, you have to wait till August, but it'll be there.
So you got it. That's August. We got some Argos noise coming out of BMO. And we're not just talking about the stomping of the bleachers.
Nope. brand new toys for Argo fans.
Oh, this is sweet. Okay. So I like it. We'll be sure to tell our friend Ginger Argo, who will be tailgating right beside me in July, I want to say. So yeah, so Ginger Argo is also going to be hanging. So we always got some love for each other over here, us WE fans and Argos fans. But yeah, Clay, thanks again, man. For everybody tuned in, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow buttons, all that good stuff. This episode is brought to you by RoyalRetros.com. Get that 5P jersey or maybe the Boatman jersey if you're an Argos fan. Go check them out at RoyalRetros.com. They got you for all your throwback needs. They are the throwback kings. We love Royal Retros. We know you will too. Jamie Fadoon, thank you for the birthday wishes. And my name is Scout Hnatuik, a.k.a. the rep from Section X. That's Clay Chisholm of the Argos Fancast. This was the Elks Call on Shotgun Sports Network, the CFL Draft live special. And we can't thank you enough for tuning in tonight. We'll check you all next week for season 4 of the Elks Call. Cheers, everybody.